All right, we're recording. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks again for doing the podcast. This has been kind of like it's we've been in the making of trying to make this happen for a while now.
Thanks for the opportunity and thanks for the patience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have one of the, I guess, most prolific burger joints in Lansing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a staple of Lansing.
It is. It is home. It is a Lansing staple. It is
Can you
home.
move that closer?
This
Sorry. Yeah, it's a staple. You mentioned Kewpees. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I know what Kewpees is."
it's been around for 101 years. And so you have to understand there's generations that have grown up with that and um just families have met their spouse there, and with that they have families and they grow, and it's hard to go somewhere when somebody sees your t-shirt and they're like, oh, my brother worked there, my dad worked there, or my grandpa took us there when we were little. Like, it's that got that much history where it's been around that long, that we are part of so many families and part of so many generations. It's truly a gift.
Yeah, I mean, that's gotta be amazing. So has it always been in your family?
Yes, I'm the 4th generation. My
Wow.
great-grandmother and my great-grandfather had started it, or originally bought it from the original owners, and they took over in 1922, I believe, and
Whoa.
then, when they started, it was 1923, and,
Wow.
then my great-grandfather passed away, and my great-grandmother took over, and
Whoa.
so she was an amazing, super strong, fierce female in the 20s doing a restaurant, um, and then my grandfather had it, and then my dad, and then I took over about 16 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's an amazing story.
I love it. It's so much tradition. Like, I know as a kid, it's like I always tell people, I went to work with my dad and I just never went home. Like when you get to take your kid to work,
Yeah.
and I just grew up in the element so much that it was second nature to me. And I loved the hustle and bustle of it. I loved all the people you got to see and meet and feed, and you got to hear other people, like, their days, and it was not your it wasn't a mundane, like, you know, it was just, I loved it, and I just knew as a kid I wanted to do this when I got older, and
Wow.
I'm fortunate enough to still do it and still love what I do.
Have you, like, being in that environment, obviously, when you were younger, you had a different perspective of it, but then now being the owner of it, has your perspective changed being a restaurant owner? Because it's one of the most difficult industries to, like, break through.
It's very challenging, but I think that's what makes me wanna do it, and it makes me appreciate it more, and it also gives me a better understanding to my dad, my grandpa, and my mom, like, that did it with kids and grew with the times. Like, 101 years, you've gone through a lot of ups and downs and a lot of challenges that are completely out of your hands. And, but it just makes you realize that you're resilient, and it challenges you for sure. But I think those are the reminders that we need sometimes in order to do the best that we can do. And, you get frustrated, it's never boring, that's for sure. Never boring, between, like, your staff that we you meet people, so many people throughout the years as your staff, and and then customers, they become family because they're in there so often, and so it just becomes like a familyhood outside of that, but it's work too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so it does. I have a greater appreciation of it as being older, and still in it. Like, I see it, but it just makes you wanna kinda you just have to adjust and finagle to get through it, to get you through another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So,
Well, I think that kind of speaks true, to the character of yourself as the business owner and to the restaurant and your employees, because when I went in there the last time, I didn't notice a difference in the way your employees acted previous times, because I've never seen you in there until this last time I went in there. And I was like, "Wait, you're Autumn, the owner." You just look familiar to me, but your employees were interacting with you as if, like, you were a friend.
it I love that, and I think it's an approach that working in other places, you can go to work and they simply don't even appreciate you or acknowledge you.
Yeah.
And it's important for me because they're a part of me. They're an extension of my brand, of my family, and in our product. And so it's important for them to have that relationship. And I they're an extension of my family. Like I love my staff. We're truly blessed with amazing people throughout the years, and that makes a huge part of it because you want to like who you work with every day.
Yeah.
You don't have to love them, but I do love mine and I do like them, and it's important to I just know that my grandfather and my dad have always said, always find somebody better than you, leave somebody better than you found them. And I know me personally, I like when somebody takes their time out of their day to ask me how I'm doing or to check in. It just makes you feel appreciated, acknowledged.
Yeah.
And I want to do that with my staff. Like, so we do enjoy working together. We have there's days that we're like, we're working. Like, we're just having a good time, but there's days also that it's not always like that too. But it's also important when you have that relationship with them, it's easier to get through,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that they can be that way around me and they're that way whether I'm there or not.
Yeah.
They do a great job. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
testament to them too.
Yeah, that's important for the work environment, and, I mean, because there's so many places, like you'd mentioned, there's so many places that you can work, and it's just you have that whole boss and employee dynamic, like, I'm the boss and you need to listen to me, we're not friends, I'm your boss, and, unfortunately, it's like that where I work, but it is what it is. Um, Now why olive burgers? Why is the focus olive burgers? Where did that begin?
It was that didn't start until I think 1925 or 27. And because before, like when Kewpee started, it was before like franchises existed. There was over 100, between Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio. And then in
100
80,
Kewpees?
yeah,
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah, so it was before franchises existed. Everybody opened up a Kewpees, and
Okay.
then in 87, the gentleman from Ohio trademarked it, and so it you could buy into the franchise and still maintain your name on that, and that's where, like, Mr. Fables came from, Halo Burger, so they branched
Mm,
off.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they became their own because not to be part of that,
Right.
and so but it was never a strict dynamic of, like, you have to use this product, you have to sell this, you have to, and, in, like so back in, like, 25, 27 is when I don't even know how, like, that's something that I wish I could have asked my grandpa, but it was such a second na you don't question the Olive Burger, why they put it on there,
Right.
you make it,
Right.
and, I don't know why that came about, but it was, to I think to introduce, like, a new style burger. And in a book that a gentleman had wrote, and, he just recently did book signing at Kewpee's this
Wow.
past year. He's really a talented man. He's taught me a lot about the history of Kewpee's, and, they say that my great-grandmother was the one
What's his
that
name?
Gary Flynn.
Okay.
He, A Mighty Nice Hamburger, he just did that book, and, he also did a story of Flint, like, he truly knows his history of a lot of things, but in particular, the Kewpee history.
Wow.
And, so he's taught me a lot, and I learn a lot from customers that are older than me that know the history or they follow it differently, and so I learn from them, but they say that my great-grandmother was one of the first to make the olive sauce, that it be a thing.
Wow.
And because there's so many different types of olive when people say olive burger, they don't know it. Is it olives in the burger or, what to expect? And everybody has their own take on an olive burger. I just focus on ours,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good product and it's the same recipe that my great grandmother's done and you don't fix what's not broken.
Well, it's clearly working.
Yeah, we love it. It's delicious.
How did the Olive Burger Festival affect Kewpees? Because when they announced that they were having the Olive Burger Festival, I was like, "Oh," like, I immediately thought of you guys. Were you guys there? Did you
Um
go to the event?
No, we had already had a catering done at the
Oh,
time that and I didn't have enough staff to do both events. And so, they did they put it on, and I did attend it, as just to try because, like, I like to support other, places and see what else is out there. It's important for me to do that
Yeah.
too, like, it's like homework.
Right.
And so, yeah, but it was interesting because people, when they think Olive Burger, they do naturally think Kewpees, and that is such a gift. Like, we are so grateful for that, but, there was a lot of great competitors out there.
Who is your favorite Olive Burger aside from Kewpee's?
Yeah. You know,
Who has a good one?
I the ones that I tried there, they were all so different. Um, I did like the gal from Owasso had a good burger. She's the one that won the Olive Burger Fest. Hers was good. It wasn't a sauce. It was just green olives,
Okay.
grilled in there with onions, and that was good. Hard Knocks Food, their truck, their that was a good burger.
That's out of Grand Ledge, right?
I'm not sure where they're based out of. I've heard them. 'em. I've seen their name pop up, and they've come into my shop, and they're great guys, hardworking, doing a great burger. I like them. So they were all just different, like
Yeah.
you go into it and like even just daily, like even we get a customer that comes in and they've never had an olive burger and they don't know what to expect. And so it's like, well, this is our take on it,
Mm,
but not to say that that's how every olive burger is supposed to be. So,
right.
but the ones I tried, they were good. They were different.
I seen that Saddleback. I always talk about Saddleback, but they had a Olive Burger pizza. What is your thoughts on that?
I didn't try it.
It sounds interesting.
It does. Now, Tammy, who's been with us for 42 years this March, she's one of a kind, just an absolute gem to have. She puts olive sauce on everything. And I mean, she's put it on pizza, and, like, we got pizza from Arts at a Christmas party, and I just looked at her like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Don't knock it till you try it." And
Oh, that's
and it was
hilarious.
it was actually good. Like, I was surprised, like, but so who am I to say it doesn't go on anything? You put on whatever you want.
Right.
You like what you eat and just eat it. But I didn't try that pizza, but it could be interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now I've always wondered this. Where did the baby come from?
The creepy
The
baby.
creepy
Yes.
baby.
Yes.
I feel like I should pull it up for the people, like, when they go to watch this, they should see.
Just to yeah, I mean, we get that question on the regular because we have a few of them in the restaurant, and it's the logo, but so, Rosie O'Neill in the, like, 1900s, she's the creator of that doll, and, that's how the gentleman out of Flint, Michigan, they, kinda piggybacked and changed the spelling on it, and just it became their mascot.
Do you have a image of it on your website?
Yes.
The burgers look so good.
Thank you. I also have a ton of
Oh,
them
there it
at
is.
we got those as baby dolls growing up, and I'm always like, "Mom, can't Lulu just get us a Cabbage Patch doll, like, or a Barbie doll?" Like, and I mean, I have yes,
Oh, there
I
it
mean,
is.
even so much that I have tattoos of them because they are
Really?
yeah, you love them. They're part of my history, and they make for a great story, but they are cute little cherubs, but they can also be creepy. So I get it. Totally get it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's crazy that it's been in your family for that long.
It is. Well, we just celebrated, yeah, 100 this year will be 101 years, and
Is
so
is there any other restaurants in Lansing that are that old,
yes, I
where
was
they've been in the family
Harry's.
that long? Oh, Harry's.
He's, I think they were 1922.
Whoa.
Yes, and so they're a longtime staple, and that's a neighborhood favorite, and they do it,
Where's
they
that located?
Um, I don't know why I wanna say Hill, but I don't even know where that came from, but it's over in the West Side neighborhood off
Okay.
Saginaw,
Okay.
like, kinda over where the new Irish pub will be in that area, but that's
Okay.
a longtime staple, and they're a amazing family too, and they do good food, and they've gone through the trials and tribulations as we have too, so much respect to them.
Yeah. How hard is the restaurant industry? Because I mean, that again, that's one of those industries where everybody talks like it's almost you're almost kind of destined to fail.
It it, um you don't wanna go into it with that mindset, but it's a battle that you do have to accept, 'cause off the with everything, it's continuously adjusting, but, um, navigating through things that's necessarily out of your control, and that would be a huge obstacle that we've experienced is, like with COVID and losing a lot of our downtown, our state and city workers, that really changed the dynamic of downtown because, we're 85% foot traffic.
Right.
And so when you lose that, you're just like, what do we do now? But you move forward because that's like I said earlier, it's part about realizing that you are resilient and that you have to, face some battles that you don't know, but you come to it and you work through it.
So how did you guys pivot during COVID?
Um, that was that was really challenging and it changed a lot of things of you had to I mean, who knew that you were in the hospitality industry, but you couldn't be close to people.
Mm.
Like you couldn't the plastic barriers, the 6 feet, um, you had to I mean, we were cleaning out the cupboard the other day and she's like, "Ah, do we need these?" And I'm like, "What is it?" And it's like a folder of people's names and phone numbers. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
"Why do
gosh.
we have that?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's from COVID." I was like, "Keep it. Like, it'll remind us,"
Good marketing.
yeah, like but right, we didn't even
Start cold
utilize it for
calling
that,
people.
but, like, the things that you do, and I think that is, that was a huge struggle is trying to serve comfort food when in an environment where people aren't comfortable because it changed so much and taking that intimacy out of dining
Right.
out,
Right.
and that was really tough, but we honestly have the greatest customer base on the planet. Like, they supported us. We did curbside for a whole year that not one
Whoa.
person was in my dining room because it was
Wow.
yeah,
Did
like
you do curbside prior to that?
no. No, that was a new thing because downtown parking is such a pain that
Right.
we couldn't really offer that, but during the time, people came in and were like, we just ran food out to them, and they dealt with that, like, and so that really makes you focus on your takeout game's gotta be on point, and because food's not always you want them to eat it when it's hot, fresh, and,
Yeah.
not but that's
Especially with burgers, you don't want the
yeah.
bread all soggy.
Right, you don't want it,
Yeah.
like, smashed and it's still delicious, but presentation does help, you want
Yeah.
it to but it's a testament to show that how much your community does support you, and being part of a community that loves you and you love them back, it's really heartwarming, so to go through COVID with that, with the business, and the times that were so I mean, those were some of the darkest, longest days that I've ever occurred in the restaurant. And those were times that were like, there was no option. Like, I remember, somebody had to come into the restaurant when they were making the announcements of things, and they were like, "Well, you could just close down and wait to open and, see what your insurance policy is." And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
For what?" Like, closed doors don't feed open mouths, like, I'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to have an amazing staff with me that stuck with me. There was 2 of us, 3 of us total that, did the entire restaurant for 6 months.
Wow.
And, yeah, they were my angel wings on earth, and they still are. And, so you find yourself in that situation, you gotta work through it, that's the other option is to close, and that wasn't an option for me.
So do you feel that having that loyal customer base of 100 and plus 101 years of customers coming in and out and people knowing your name that was beneficial to that time for you?
Absolutely. I do. I mean, I think that when you are part of a community that long, that it's a family bond. It's more than they pass a lot of places to get to our restaurant, and so we appreciate that, and it's important for us, my staff, to let customers know that when they walk through the door, they chose us, like, that's a gift right there, so give them reason to,
Right.
and you gotta pay it back, and Lansing definitely showed up with that, and we're grateful because it takes time to create those relationships with people, and, you when they come in, you know where they like to sit, you know what they order.
Right.
You go out there and you ask them about their kids, about work, about whatever. It's just part of it's part of your day, but it's what gives you joy in your day.
Right.
So I definitely feel that was a huge part of it because we had so many loyal customers that they chose us, to support through that, and they got us through it. So,
Now, being downtown, you have all the government workers, you have the Capitol right there, you have all the politicians coming in and out. Who is the most and I just seen recently you had Magic Johnson stop in. Like, I mean, it's like I had mentioned, Kewpee's is like one of the most iconic restaurants in Lansing for people to go to eat a burger. Um, w who's the most prolific person that's come in? Like, who's the most famous?
it depends on what you think of,
Let's go with politician.
I mean, we've had them all. Like, we get them all in there.
Do you
And,
recognize them when you see them?
some I do, yeah. Like, we're in the heart of downtown, so we definitely get, the governors, a lot of we get that clientele that, senators, all that come through our doors, but you just wanna I mean, when you're in the kitchen working, it's like they're I can't make your burger more special because
Right,
it's that
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You appreciate them coming in, and it's a a great opportunity to see them like, "Oh, that's rad." Like, you wanna sometimes, like, there's a 10,000 things that you wanna run out
I
to
love
them
that you
to
said
say,
rad.
you know? That that's one of my faves. You want to, but you also wanna remember that they're they need to eat too, so it's their lunch break, so,
Right,
you just respect them for that and appreciate them for coming into your doors, like, it's and then where we're situated, we definitely get that a lot, and, there's they're always good to us, they're always kind, and, I mean, whether you were regardless if you agree with them
right.
on their decisions and everything like that, they're hungry too, so we'll feed them.
It's so funny when you talk about politicians, you have to be like, "Well, whether you agree with them or not." It's like, they're just people. Either way, they have their own ideas, their thoughts. You don't have to agree with them. Um, and that's something that I've had to kind of not realize, but like let my audience know because I've interviewed politicians before and people get mad at me for it.
Well, yeah,
And it's
because
like,
they're so quick. I feel like today's society is so quick to write people off or categorize people
yeah,
so quickly, and it's like, you have to remember they're human too at the end of the day.
right,
And just because somebody likes that doesn't make them it maybe in your world, it makes them good, bad, or ugly, or you don't like, I like french fries from here, not there, like, now you don't like me, like, it says more about them than it does about you,
right,
but it doesn't need to be that way.
right.
It
Well, it's the idea that they don't want you to support that person for their thoughts and their ideas. And for me, like I've had people on my podcast that I've gotten, flack from, like people don't like that I've had certain guests on because then you're platforming that person. You're giving them a place to talk. But then like with a restaurant, like you're not necessarily associated to those people and their thoughts and their ideas.
mm-mm.
It's the same thing for the podcast.
Right,
You're just having a conversation,
yes.
getting to know them.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the risk you take by being in the situation and by doing the profession that you do, and as I do. Like, I mean, I don't know every customer that comes in, and if they're good, bad, or ugly, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not relevant as to why they're there.
Yeah.
They're there as a customer, and my job is to serve them and just appreciate that they came in, and that other stuff is it can get really ugly, it really can, but you just you keep on you feed them and you keep on moving.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how has the restaurant changed over the years? How have you witnessed it change? And where did it start at? Where did it hasn't always been at that location, correct?
No, we've been at 118 South Washington for 47 years, going on
Whoa.
48 years this year,
How old are you,
and
if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 41.
Wow. So it's
So
older than you.
yes, yeah. And, it's been there, but before that, we had one on the South Side, and then there was one downtown, like where LCC's at now, and it was a drive-through, walk-up window, like what you dream of now,
Mm.
really, is that
Yeah.
kind of building, but they tore it down and they, built a continued LCC on that. So that was what it was originally. It was just this little diner, and it couldn't have been like, when I think diner, that's what I think of. It was, like, the checkered flooring, the teal bar
Oh, wow.
stools, that swivel, the leather ones, and, like, the
Yeah.
stainless steel round caps, and, cedarwood planking around it. It was just a
Wow.
cozy diner that was open 24 hours a day.
24 hours.
Oh, Lansing was so different. I mean, Lansing was we've seen Lansing through, I mean, I haven't personally seen it through 100 years, but my business has, my family has,
Yeah.
and, to see when things were hustling, it's I mean, like, I think of that now and I'm like, "Gosh, my great-grandmother had a shop that was open 24/7 with a walk-up window, a drive-through window."
That's
Like,
interesting because, like, when you think about, like, the older times, things were closed more often.
right, but
So
it was different. Downtown Lansing was different. The high school was there, across the street from it, Central, and it like, they had the Cruise in the Gut, and they had car shows and not even car shows, it was just people that had cars that they went and hung out, and that's what you did, and we didn't even
wow.
serve alcohol, so it's a testament to, like, it's people being out and about in the element and enjoying their city and their having something to do, a place to go to, and
Wow.
yeah, it's so I think of that all the time because 'cause we used to be open 6 days a week, and now we're 5 days a week because through COVID, it just killed downtown, and so it's hard to I'd like to get my hours back to, extending the evening hours and even doing weekends because parking's free on the
Mhm.
weekends, but it takes a lot, like, you still have it's weird to say because COVID seems so far away,
I know.
you know? But it's like you're still, crawling out of that,
Yeah, I can
to
imagine.
it does, and you don't ever it's not like you redeem yourself from it financially and you're back at it, like, you're continuously coming out of that, but you want to surpass that and not only get it back to what it was, but apply what you learned through it and adjust to it to what it will be,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, because that was probably the most scary thing about being a business owner at that time for anything, was you didn't really know what to expect, and you didn't know, like, I mean, it seemed like every 2 weeks, it was like, "Okay, we're shutting down completely. Okay, now you can do this. Now you can do that." And you're, like, trying to just navigate this terrain that you've never navigated
Right.
before, and it's like, "How do I?"
You have nothing to go off of,
Right.
and you can't really, like during COVID, the governor had asked me to be on a Zoom call with, I think 9 other business owners in the state of Michigan, and some of them were, like a brewery owner, a bakery, just in the restaurant in the hospitality industry, and, she just wanted to talk to us to see our concerns and everything, and I remember being on it, and I was telling my dad, I'm like, it's like nobody knows what to like, you can ask a question or share your concern, but, like, what are they to say to tell you what you're supposed to do because it's never happened before,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you were left with just, like, kinda bear and grit at your own expense, but you have to do these things in order to open. Well, then that costed money,
Mm.
and it was like, "Well, now I gotta hire somebody to do this," and I like, businesses that come you know what I mean? So it was truly, like it was really tough, but, it that's where, like, the spirit that you have with your staff and, it reminds you, like, "Nope, we're here to do it. We're gonna we'll get through it," and you do. You did. We did,
Right, right.
and you learn from it, and it just kinda reminds you as to how far you come, so,
How long did it take for the downtown workers to come back?
we're still waiting.
Really? Are you serious?
Well, they say they're back and they're partially back. They come back 2 to 3 days a week, but they're still, for we do get told, like, they'll be back full time. They'll be back full time, and it's still a real gradual thing,
What is the
you know?
reasoning for that? Is it just because they're saving money by having them work from home, or
I have no idea really what the reasoning is, but I feel like I mean, I don't have an opportunity to work from home, but I feel like when you're presented that and somebody gets to work from home and they're just as efficient and probably better quality of life 'cause you know what I mean? Like, if
I
it
don't know about that.
I think it just depends on the person.
Yeah,
Like, I know
definitely
me
does.
personally, I couldn't do it, not just because my job doesn't
You're a
allow
people
it,
person,
but
so
yes, I need to be with people and out and about. If I were to work from home, I don't see myself getting work done, but other people strive in that, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And so I think that it really does come down to the quality of life, but I don't think that we should be so dependent on, you know, that's what I learned through COVID is, like, not being so dependent on when they're coming back. Like, you have to utilize what you have now, and that's your community that you're leaning on. And so to really, that's really Lansing who was carrying us as our customers and our community. So, I mean, they're back and they're somewhat not it's definitely not when you see it in the news and read it in papers and stuff, you're just kind of like, people think that they're back, but come downtown, like you'll see that they're not back.
What companies or what industries are not back to work yet? Do you know?
I wouldn't
Because I
know.
honestly don't even know what's all downtown Lansing. Like I know we have the state workers, we have the politicians. What
And they're in
else is
session, so they're great. They had the state of the state yesterday, and that's always a great day. Until like then they're off until the budget's released, which is second week of February. Um, it's like you gotta stay in tune with politics, even though, like, I
mm,
don't.
right.
Politics is exhausting. I don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's part of where you play, so you have to know it, but, um, the city and state workers, they're I don't know what departments are back and not, like, just some of our customers, they're like, "Well, we come in on 3 days a week." And, but you notice those 3 days a week when they are back. So, like, the
Mhm.
few that are back downtown
Yeah.
working in their office, you can tell, and those are the days that, like, they do come out and about, which is great, but it's hard because downtown was is like a kind of like a cafeteria, but they wanna take that the to where it's more stuff at nighttime, weekends, like family you have to bring that clientele downtown, it's
Right.
needed.
Yeah.
But
Do you
it's
think that you'll change your hours if that happens?
I mean, we're there to feed people, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, if the people are there, we're there.
How's that new venue doing? The Gruel Hall?
Uh,
Has that changed the nightlife down there?
they've brought in a lot of great acts and a lot of they have their nights, definitely you see ever since they've been downtown, when we're closing up, it's like, "Look, where are all these cars coming from?" And it's from them. So
Wow,
it's awesome that they are bringing that, and I I know that once they kinda build that up and get going, like, they've done a lot of amazing work to that building. I mean,
it's
truly,
beautiful.
it is. It's stunning. And they from what it was to what it is, it's an event space too, so you can if use it for weddings, parties, whatever. But they've got some really they've had some great, people. We've got tickets in March to go see somebody, but, yeah, they've definitely brought people downtown at nighttime. Definitely. You can definitely see an influx of people coming down in traffic and cars, and it's great because it's like you have hope for, and you wanna I would love to be like, "Alright, we're gonna be open, 11 to 9," but
Right.
it's not as easy as it sounds to do
I
that,
could imagine.
with, employees, trying to get them staffed and everything like that, and it's a challenge, so
Now, I had heard a rumor that you guys plan on opening a second location. Is that true?
not no, not
No?
no, I don't think I can take that on my belt right now.
Because I heard somebody's like, "Yeah, they're gonna be opening a location in East Lansing, and they're gonna be open, like, on weekends and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, that would be sweet."
It would be, and I'm never I would never say no to it, I'd love to grow and, if there's an area that's suitable and would be, great, I mean, we're open to it, but at this time right now, there are no actual plans of a second spot at this moment,
Okay.
but I wouldn't close it.
Yeah.
My 1.5-year-old might say otherwise, but she's kind of the rule of my world right now, but we'll get
What
there.
what is that like? What is it like balancing the work life and, like, the restaurant ownership and being a mom?
It is, it's probably the most challenging thing I've done.
Being a
It's
mom.
yes, yes. But it's also the greatest joy. It is kind of it's similar to the industry being in, like, you don't know what the hell you're gonna get with a 1.5-year-old. Same with customers. I don't know what I'm gonna get, like,
Yeah.
and you gotta feed them and keep them happy, you know what I mean? And it's like, at the end of the day, she's alive, she's well. She motivates me to do more. and, it's it gives me a different appreciation for it, but, yeah, I'm grateful for my village that helps with it because it definitely takes a village, but she motivates me to wanna do more and to it makes me appreciate how my dad growing up, because my mom helped, but they had 2 shops then. And so, like, seeing them making it work, and it's like so I'm like, "I know it can be done," but, like,
Yeah.
it's hard to leave your daughter when you go into work, because it's like, God, you just wanna hang with them and play on the floor and play with dinosaurs and,
Right.
eat good snacks and, just hang, but I need the business in order to provide for her, so it goes hand in hand, but, I think she's a great, outlet, she's a great reminder as to me staying focused, and, I mean, I just try to do the best I can. It's first time being a mom, and so I don't know what I'm doing, just same like with some days at the restaurant, I'm like, "I'm not really sure, but we're just gonna do the best we can."
Do you think being in charge of something like that kind of prepared you a little bit to be a mom?
Oh god, no.
No?
Shit, no, I don't I would love to say, like, as much as I've dealt with, like, because sometimes there's days that you're like, I feel like I'm just a big babysitter sometimes, like putting out fires and
Yeah.
making people get along and, "No, no, you gotta do this. No, 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 you got" and same with the mom, but it's when I go home, I no, the yeah, the boss hat doesn't necessarily come off, but it's, you learn from it, you know what I mean? She's helped me with patience and that helps with being in charge at work and that definitely that's definitely changed for me. I feel like I've gotten way more patient with things and people
Mm,
and understanding. I think and that plays a big part of it with employees is like, life happens, life is hard, and whether you have kids or not, it's just everyday stuff is how you don't know what somebody else is dealing with, and so just keeping, like, a kind heart and an open mind and, just going in with that. That's why I really it is important for me to have that relationship with my staff.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy do you think you'll leave? I mean, because like you said, growing up and seeing your parents, run the restaurant, it kind of prepared you for the restaurant, being in the restaurant industry and taking over Kewpees. Do you think you'll leave her the same kind of legacy?
I would hope to I would never like, I don't think of it now being, like, my only opportunity of retirement ever is just if my daughter takes over, like, I would want her to do it because she wanted to, because that's
Right.
the biggest difference of when you go when it's an obligation, it takes away the joy, it takes away why you do what you do, and I would hope that, her growing up in the restaurant industry that she is, you know, gets all the perks of it in the sense of, like, just being part of an amazing tradition and meeting people and being part of a good thing and having a good work ethic because that's I'm grateful for. Like now it makes sense. I'm now more appreciative of it. As back then it's like, God, Dad, do we seriously have to work on Saturday? Like my friends are going here and there, and it's like, no, if you don't have sports, you're going to the shop.
Wow.
And
How old were you when you first started working in the restaurant?
oh gosh, I mean, I'm the youngest, so I was an easy child to dump off. Like go in the kitchen and my dad would, flip a milk crate over, and I would stand at the counter, and I would get drinks and I remember being, like, 6, 7 years old doing that.
Wow.
And then, one of our like, Sam, he recently passed away, but he had been with my father for 40 years. And I remember when my mom would drop me off down there, my dad would give him, like, $5, and him and I would walk over to Woolworth and buy, like, a coloring book and cards, and so I loved that. Like, that was I got to hang with my dad, I got to hang with the staff they were like family, it was like they all were like, they just were like an extension of family,
Yeah.
so and then I got to also get a cheeseburger, so I was pretty happy, and so that was a big part of growing up and, you make it work, it becomes part of you, so I hope that and she come work with me a days, and my staff loves it. It just breaks that monotony of just work, because sometimes
Mhm. Yeah.
no matter what you do, there's days that you're just like, "Oh my god, again?"
Right.
And then in walks this, tank of joy, and then it's just all good, and she brings that. So it's a reminder as she's just a I I do a lot. I do things differently now having a child.
I love it when you go into a restaurant and they have their children there, 'cause then you're like, "Oh, this is truly like a
Oh
family-owned
yeah.
restaurant or business," or whatever.
Oh yeah. And it does. It truly is a mom and pop shop. Like it's you there's not it's not always like, you know, sunflowers and rainbows, you know what I mean? Like, the
Yeah.
reality of it is, like, you do it the best that you can, and
You
and
don't
that's
always have a babysitter.
no, but you
You
go
still
into
gotta
work,
work.
yeah, you still have to work, and you still have to get you have to get it done, and that's why I'm grateful for the staff that we do have, because she loves coming in to see 'em, like, and they do too, so I'm grateful for them. They're an extension of a body part. They're another arm, another hand to hold her and to watch her,
Right.
and it really is it makes you appreciate everybody that you work with, and you get to do life with,
Yeah.
because that is I'm really grateful for who I work with.
That's
They're
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, they're
That's awesome.
awesome. They're awesome people.
That's very cool. I had a question, I don't remember what it was now. Oh, yeah. So obviously you're a mom and you, are a business owner and you're busy working a lot. But do you do anything else? Do you have any other hobbies or any other ventures or anything like that?
Um, I love I mean, family is I'm a very family-oriented person. So family's huge, and, I I love to travel, love to my sister has a yoga studio above my restaurant,
Oh,
and so
okay.
I that is
What's the name of that?
Firefly hot yoga
Okay.
bar, and
Hot
that
yoga.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
like, there's heat panels in the ceiling, and
wow.
it's amazing. It's like doing yoga, and people are always they're like, "I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible," and it's like, you don't have to be, you
You
just
don't
go in
have to
there and
be.
you can be a blob on your mat. Like, it just shuts the world off for a
I
moment.
I had a friend that I was personal training for a while. He's a big dude, like 300 plus pounds. And, I took him to hot yoga, East Lansing hot yoga,
Okay.
and he was the biggest dude in the room, but he was doing it,
Yeah.
and anybody could do it.
Anybody can do it.
Anybody can.
You have to get that out of your it's we restrict ourselves so much from things that we put labels on,
Yeah.
and to break through that, and it once you do it, it's like trust me, I wasn't like a yogi, as they say, like, no, I'm not sure I can do that, but I did, I went, and it is it gives, like, your mind a hug. Like, to hear somebody else instruct you to, as stupid as it sounds, breathe, it's a
Mhm.
game changer.
It is.
It's a true game changer because it's giving yourself back a little bit of love of all that you send out, and so when somebody else is there and in charge and just telling you to breathe and speaking to you, it's really relaxing, and you need that.
It kind of grounds you as a person too, because
Oh,
it
for
takes
sure.
you back to the fundamentals of just like,
Yeah,
just being in your own body and just breathing and just, like, it's I don't know, it just it gets rid of all the bullshit in life,
absolutely.
and you're not focused on anything but
No.
that moment.
But that moment,
Yeah.
and to have somebody else tell you that, because you need it. Otherwise, like, you can sit there and tell yourself all day, "I'm not gonna" that well, it's easy, then you get on your phone, and then you get on social media, or you just get distracted with other things in your hand, but you're tied to that, you're just changing the direction to something else that's not really giving your mind any ease, or stepping away from it, whereas you go into that room, you lay on your mat, and it's truly just you.
You're not even thinking about all those things.
No.
You're just thinking about getting through that moment.
Yeah, exactly, like, how much longer do I have of this? But then once you finally get yourself into that place, it's like you realize that you really did need that love. You needed that moment, that time to recharge because it's exhausting. Like
Yeah.
I said, just waking up, going to get out of bed some days, it's just like it's easier to stay in bed, but then we stay in our own head, and it makes for a really long day. But to do things like that where it loves you back and you recharge,
Yep.
it gives you just the energy and the power you need to get through another day.
I remember the first time I went to, hot yoga, it was at East Lansing Hot Yoga, and I think it was like an hour. I think it was an hour long, yoga session, and then afterwards, the instructor was doing like a guided meditation, and I don't even remember what he was saying, but I had this like hallucinogenic like experience, and I felt like I was laying on a beach. I could hear the waves crashing, and I like the heat. It was hot, obviously.
Yeah.
I felt like the sun was just beaming on my body, and then I snapped out of it, and I'm like, oh man, I want to go back. I want to go back to that place. I had never experienced anything like that.
And isn't it crazy that you allowed yourself to experience that?
Yeah,
Like, you did that. Like, yes, it was a guided meditation, but you allowed yourself to go there to experience that.
yeah.
And it does do wonders. It
It
does wonders to the mind, the soul, the body, everything. It's just it's great. I wish more people would just be open enough to try it.
yeah.
And but it's the same thing when people don't wanna try an olive burger. I can't make them. You know what I mean? Like, fine, don't enjoy a burger. It might be the best thing you ever had. You might never like it. I don't know, but at least try it, you know? So it's
Yeah,
being open enough to try it. And yoga is one of those things that, especially now me being a mom, it's like, I mean, you're constantly like, "Am I doing the right thing?" And, "Oh, wait, no." There's so many, like, there's so many groups of, "Oh my god, you feed your kid that? Did they die?" Like, they're like, "Yeah, she ate Cheez-Its, and she," you know what I mean? Like,
right.
there's so many yays, nays, "Don't do this, don't do this," and it's like, I wanna raise a good human, like, a healthy human, you know? So,
Yeah,
it's hard and to have that as it's an outlet that is needed just for yourself, you know,
yeah.
because you wanna be the best that you can be, and why not do things that help you become that?
I love that statement.
You know? And yoga does that, and just doing stuff for you particularly is you can't pour from an empty cup, you know? And we just tend to get so busy with things and we forget and or things that, like, bring us purpose, but don't necessarily bring us that. It's just like it's surface level,
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
So to really get down to it, and then it can be anything. Anything that brings you joy, do it. It's do more of that, you know? And
yeah.
I mean, besides working and momming and family, it's, um, just hanging out, really. I mean, I feel like in this field is going out to eat is like it's research, I always say,
Mm.
'cause, get to see what other people are doing and what they're using and all that, so that's an enjoyment, a pastime, and hanging with friends and just kinda I'm
What kinda things when you go to a restaurant, what kinda things are you researching or thinking about or
I always, um going out to eat with my family, it's pretty funny because like, we all fixate on different things. You know, like, my brother will be like, he'll mention, like, look at that system they're using. Are you familiar with that system?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." Just because I own a restaurant doesn't mean I know every like, but I am always looking at that, and I always do ask the server, like, "Do you like your system? Is it user-friendly? Like, is it efficient?" And so that's always thing. I mean, I go based down to food, like, was it good? And just I it I feel like my daughter, as much as I do cook, I love it, but, like, it's also important to support, other mom and pop shops, so it's
Yeah,
like I like to go out to eat and to go around and then to see what they're doing, so, yeah, to see what foods on the menu and what trends are and, like, what to-go options they're using, like, if I'm doing it right,
right, yeah.
not even necessarily right, but is there another way to
Is there
do
a
it,
better way to do
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, so you can always grow, you know what I mean? You can always, just it's continuously adjusting, but you just wanna make sure you're doing right, doing good, and keeping up with everything.
yeah. I love that. I love that. And I wanna go back to the last point you were making about, um, you know, having, like, a healthy mind and how it helps you in life and everything in your business, is most people that I, like, respect it the most and, are successful in their business and life, they all do things outside of their business to ensure that they have the best type of mindset.
Yeah,
Whether it's like working out or doing hot yoga or doing any kind of yoga or meditation or anything like that.
yeah, I think that it is so important, like, when I go into work, I've got anywhere from 7 to 10 other people that depend on me, and, regardless of what they're going through, they're still going through shit, and does it is it part of my job to talk to him about it? No, but I care. I want that time that they're there to be a good time and an easier time. Like, I can't tell you how many times that I have had staff that, like, I come to work to get away from shit. This time that I'm here, this short time that I'm here, it's like I don't think about other stuff and I enjoy it. And that, like, I love that. But if there's a way that I can help with stuff outside of work, like, I would love that. That is a huge part of where I feel like that there's a need for that. People need to be acknowledged, appreciated, and to know that it's going to be okay. Anxiety is scary, and mental illness is real. Like, people deal with stuff, and just to take the time just to be like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, there's been times that my sister has taught me, because she's a yoga instructor. She's taught me about this breathing techniques, and as silly as it is, breathing,
Mhm.
like, I can't tell you how many times that I've gone to somebody on the line and been like, "All right, it's gonna be all right. Take a breath. Take another breath." And it catches me too, because I need that too.
When you do your breathing patterns, doesn't it, like, reshape your brain
Uh,
and your thought pattern?
Instantly,
Yeah.
instantly, and it's like pressing the reset button, and being aware of that, and it helps me because I'm right there with them. I'm working through it too, and I needed that moment as well. And so to share that with somebody, I think it's because, like, a lot of people, they think you're crazy or stupid. Be like, I have the shit that I have going on is breathing is not gonna help me, like, your breath work is not gonna pay my utility bill. Totally get it. I totally get it. But that moment might just ease your mind a minute and give you just some relief, just to know that it's gonna be okay, and that it's you're able to work through it,
Keep
and
Hold you together a little bit.
yeah, and take that practice and do it later at home. Like, to read whatever it is that you have to do to serve yourself to be, you know, together, do it. And do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what other people think or they judge you on it. Just whatever where you find relief, and to can a moment take a moment to heal a part of you, do it. Like yoga, meditation, running, swimming, working out, whatever it is, just like, know that you are worthy of that. And I think that so many of us get caught up in the day to day, and supposed to, like, I know with me being a business owner and a new mom, I feel like I'm expected to know how to do both. And there's days that I'm like, the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like I'm doing the best that I can, and I stand in that, and it's like I'm open to anybody helping me with that, and, like, I just know that, like, I'll get through it. Like,
Yeah.
and whether they're with me or not on it, like, we're in this together. So it
Yep.
just is it's better when you have somebody else to share it with,
Absolutely.
so you're
And
not
when
alone.
you go through hard moments like that too, it kind of sets you up for going through other hard times. Like, you know that you can navigate this terrain because you have the mental capability to be able to work through issues.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is comforting, and you're, like I said, being I'm not, a coach by any means of breathing or anything like that, but I just know it's worked for me and helped for me, and if it can help somebody else, done. Like, that's enough to share it with. And I just think that a lot of times when working and when I going through places that I've been worked at, and it just that to me is important. And so to establish that, and no, it has nothing to do with burgers or food, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
they're a part of you, so you want them to be okay and happy and good, and, it's always not gonna be that way, but for the time being, if I can help, like, you're not alone in this,
well, if you can
like,
help them and then they can do their job better, and then the customer also,
for
because, like, I
sure.
mean, if they're not doing well, then they're probably going to lack in their work ethic, and their mind is elsewhere. They're not focused on the quality of work that they're putting out, and then it's going to
Absolutely.
resonate with the customer too. And so if you can just create this even playing field for everybody, so there's a balance,
Yeah.
then everybody's happy and, well, kind of happy
For the most
for
part,
the
but
most part.
it creates a vibe that is, it's unnecessary to bring. I get it. When you come to work, you can't there's some shit you just can't leave outside those doors, but it shouldn't impact you so much that it's affecting you of how you're doing your job. And when it comes to that, let's talk about it.
Right.
Let's like, let's do what we can, right now with what we can, but, like, also let's work through it because that it does I think working through things gives you that what you need, whether it just be, like, getting through a lunch hour, but it knowing that you can do that would help with whatever it is that you're going through in your head, like, but to you almost, like, compartmentalize on things for the time being. But, yeah, it does it because it creates a vibe that, like, and I like the vibe at work to be, enjoying the time and doing the like, 'cause we get to make an awesome product every single day, and we get to serve some really awesome people, and so it's really a joy to go to work, like, I still love what I do, but I also would love it more if everybody there was just like, I don't want anybody to have a bad day. I don't want people to
Right.
be down and out. Like,
Yeah.
you're awesome. You're amazing. You showed up to work today. You're doing better than you think. So, like, be proud of yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that has been huge with me too through everything and just seeing. So, I think that's important. That's it's high on my list to make sure
Uh,
people feel that.
I love that. I love that. And it speaks true that, like you talk a lot about your employees and how much you care about them and how they're an extension of you. It shows because you talk about them all the time. So that's awesome. Um,
Well, they're
what
making it. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
they really are. That's that I'm not there to do it all, as
right.
and so they're part of that, so I want them to jump on that and enjoy that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do yoga and smell burgers. I feel like it'd be difficult.
When I go up there, I'm like, "I smell like a burger right now," and it's like you smell, like, the oils and stuff like that, but you don't even smell it up there at all.
Oh, you
It's
don't?
no, it's
Oh.
me that, like, when I come from
It's
work,
just
it's
you
like,
resent.
I'm bringing french fries, like, and I'm always, like, telling my sister, I'm like, "Put me in the back, put me in the back," like,
How
and
often does she do yoga classes?
She does them I'm pretty sure she does them every day.
Okay.
Maybe, if not 5 to 6 days a week.
Okay.
There's several different classes. I like to try them all just to see where I'm at because 'cause I'm not a yogi. I don't know.
Yeah.
Half the time when they're saying things, I'm like, "What is that? Like, I'm supposed to do what?" Like, looking around the room, but that's another thing that has taught me is, like, not to be concerned about the people, what they're doing.
Right.
Focus on you.
Yeah.
And so it checks me there too, like, but she does bar classes, like slow burn. My favorite is the candlelight classes because you go in there and
Relaxing.
yeah, and I mean, it's like the building itself is 160 years old. It's one of the
Wow.
oldest buildings in Lansing,
Wow.
downtown Lansing, I'm sorry. And so it's the historic is there. It's just, it's a vibe in itself, and my sister's done so much work. My brother like, gutted it, created it. My sister had a vision, and she
Wow.
executed it, and it's one of when you walk up into the space, you have that energy, and it's her vibe, and it's everything you need because she can calm my 1.5-year-old down, like, my 1.5-year-old does deep breaths already,
Wow.
and so,
That's
like
crazy.
yeah, and so when you get to go there, you walk into her space, and you already feel this, like, warm hug, and, she does, all different kinds of classes, but Mondays is my favorite because it's candlelight, there's no mirrors in the room, so you don't have to worry about, like, because that's a fear for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and so you don't have to worry about that, and it's candlelit, and, at the end, they do, like, a guided meditation, and it's so appreciated. It's the best way to like, Mondays can be "Is this week gonna kick my ass? Am I gonna kick this week's ass?" Like, what you
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Sets the tone for the week.
that's tone the break, so why not go and get some self-love at the end of the day and just melt into your mat and just, like, don't get so fixated on something that happened throughout the day. Like,
Right.
just decompress
Yeah.
and be good minded the next you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you go home and you sleep like a baby. Well, I don't know why they say that sleep like a baby, but, you sleep good. Sleep good.
Well, this was awesome.
Yeah,
And you
I thank you so much for the opportunity, and I thank you for being patient.
Oh, no, absolutely. What I love about talking to business owners is because I love talking to business owners because you see them, like, in their restaurant, you see them in their business, and you kind of identify them with that business, but there's so much more to you than just that, and I think that you kind of brought that out in this interview.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
It's it's what I do. It is my history, it's my tradition, it's my family, it's my livelihood, but it's my living, but Yeah, in a way, it's my life, but there's life outside of it too.
Right.
And that has been, with my daughter, has grounded me in that sense of, prioritizing your time. And, you I think a lot of that has to do with today's society too, is work, 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 work.
Mhm.
Like, always work for more. You gotta have more. You gotta have that car. You gotta have this. You
I
gotta have
think it's
that.
just everything's over accentuated because of social media and, like, the rush of
Yeah.
everything. I mean, you especially, like, if you're a business owner, because you wanna be, like you want the next best, like, you want customers, you want to keep your brand going, and
Right, but that's exhausting to
it
continuously
is.
chase that, like, and that's why it is like you see it is such a hard industry to be in because you're not guaranteed. People can like you or love you. People can not even try you, but they go based off of a review because, everybody nowadays is, a professional food taster. And it's like, you don't go by that. Like, go give it a try yourself. Like, that
Right.
place that you driven past 10 times and you heard something, get that out of your head. Go try it.
I've learned to never, listen to anybody's, point of view on any restaurant because people that there's been people that like like Kewpees or whatever, like somebody might go there and be like, "I don't like their burger."
Right.
Like, I love Kewpees, so your advice to
Uh,
me does not matter.
and that's why it's you just have to go with yourself on that.
Yeah,
And then it also can't be you can't be taken that one response doesn't define you.
yeah,
It doesn't define like, you're not gonna please them all. Like, not everybody's gonna love Kewpies. Not everybody's gonna love the burgers that we do, and that's okay. There's more that do love it
the
than
fries are good
don't.
too.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what I mean? There's that, and that's why
Yeah,
it refocuses you focus on it's just like when you have a party. I think people are more pissed off for the people that didn't come. Well, you just took away from the people that did come.
right,
Like,
yeah.
focus on who shows up and focus on who does love your product and just of course, you're always thinking of growing and how to get, if there's a demographic that you're not getting, how do you go after that? Yeah, for sure, but I think my lesson for this year is not taking things personal, and that business mentality, like personal life mentality, that is something I'm trying to do, and
Awesome.
that's tough, but it can be done.
I'm not sure exactly what just happened, but, that cut out. Alright. Yeah, I love that. I love that, and, I think we'll end it with that before my computer gives up on me.
Well, all good. Well, I thank you again for the opportunity, and this has been really nice. So thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, and I look forward to doing it again.
Yes,
Alright.
absolutely.